This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I start the show by talking about the NBA All-Star Weekend. Did Mac McClung finally bring the livelihood back to the dunk contest? And will we see any stars in the future because of this performance? And what about the All-Star Game? Was it worth it? We discuss that. And then we also talk about the new XFL. Could it become a developmental league for the NFL? And what benefits could it bring? We then break down our top 5 Cavaliers of, well, our lifetime. And Ben's list might surprise you. And then we finish up by talking about the NCAA football and, well, really how the rule changes could be hurting college football for good. All that and so much more coming up on a Baseline Podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben. That's Josh. And we are back once again on this lovely, it's not really spring over here, but it's not winter.
It's dude, it's beautiful here. It's 60 degrees.
It was, so listen,
a little windy, but sunny.
Listen, we had 60 degrees on like Tuesday for practice. It was the first football practice I went to where I wasn't bundled in about 7 layers, and I could actually physically do the drills with the
Ben,
players.
you're not a real football coach, man.
Listen, I am a football coach. Listen, no, hold up. No, hold up.
All football coaches wear khaki shorts on the sidelines.
I was going to wear shorts. Okay, I was going to wear shorts, but it's very hard when it's just weird. Okay, you know, I didn't want to get sick. I'm a teacher too. You know, there's a lot of factors going here. But trust me, I actually did have shorts underneath my sweatpants on Tuesday, so I took off my sweatpants halfway through practice. So I did end up having shorts on. I didn't go there.
The intent and the plan was there.
Yeah, it was there. It was there. So anyways, it's been lovely weather, I guess, in both sides of the world. And so we are here to talk sports because it was a crazy weekend. It was a crazy weekend of a lot of different sports. Again, we're not a big topic again this week. As there's not enough really information to do an NFL draft special. There's a lot of other things that we would like to do, but it's just a weird week. So
been seeing a lot of bad mock drafts lately.
I will say that, and we will
get
to that.
CBS Sports continues to be the worst NFL mock draft site there is, dude. Like,
that is true.
Their most recent one has Anthony Richardson going first overall to the Colts.
It's stupid. It's not going to happen. And we will talk about that in our mock drafts because obviously Josh and I get perfect mock drafts. I'm just going to say Sauce Gardner got that right. I'm going to own that for a while. So we are now going to talk about a few different things. Josh, what are we going to start with today? And let's do this.
Well, should we unleash our rural Ohio roots and talk about Ricky Stenhouse winning the Daytona 500?
You know, there was a lot of weird sports happening this weekend. There was the dunk contest. There was the 3-point contest. There was our
NBA All-Star Weekend. Yeah, Daytona 500 NASCAR
XFL
season kicking off. XFL, USFL.
Yeah, let's start with NASCAR draft. Because obviously Josh and I pay so much attention to NASCAR on this show. I don't think this is the first time we've mentioned NASCAR on this show.
Is it?
It is the first time we've mentioned NASCAR.
Man, maybe it is. I thought we might have talked about.
We are 79 episodes in,
but
we are 79 episodes in, and we just now talked about NASCAR.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, 2020, May 2020, when NASCAR was like the only sport going on. That was the most diehard NASCAR fan I'd ever been. I adopted Chase Elliott as my favorite driver. He did not win the Daytona 500 this year. That was Ricky Stenhouse.
Ohio guy, though.
Yeah. Ricky, I guess, only had 2 wins before that race, and so this is his first Daytona 500 win. Martin Truex was kind of a interesting pick just because he drives the number 19 car. The race was on February 19th. He was going into his 19th season driving NASCAR, and it could have been his first Daytona 500. So it was kind of like, man, dude, I know that NFL media, or not NFL, sports media in general wanted that to happen so they could post a graphic, on their social media with all the 19s, like just being a coincidence. It's like, you know what? It's kind of set up for this. Maybe I'll bet Truex to win, but I didn't, and he didn't win. So no lost money on that. But yeah, Ben, did you ever grow up in any kind of like, I guess, NASCAR community? Like I've had one, my grandma's husband is like the only like NASCAR fan that I know. And then you remember Andrew Yunt from college.
Yeah.
I actually watched the Daytona 500 with him the last 60 or so laps on Sunday.
Yeah, my cousin Caitlin and her husband, they watch NASCAR quite a bit. I didn't really grow up around it. Like I had family members or friends that would like watch it, or I'd hear friends come to school and they'd be talking about it. but not really. Like even when I was in college or even high school, like I never really pay attention. Like I would pay attention to the big races. Like I would see it on ESPN, like, oh, Daytona 500. Okay. Jimmy Johnson wins. Like I knew the main names, right? And I played the video games because I was a guy that I wanted to drive backwards. Because every teenage boy does that. And I think any guy that plays that game, any NASCAR game, that's what I did. My brother and I, we would literally, he would go forward and I would go backwards, and we'd turn off like where it would just reset you, and we would just see if he could survive as I just am rolling through everyone. So, that's about as the most NASCAR experienced person I am, is that I went backwards on a NASCAR video game just to destroy people. So if
That's
that tells you anything
interesting,
about
man.
that.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of mine. Like I said, I didn't know a ton of people, but I did grow up in an area that I guess where racing was, I guess, common. Like over in Norwalk, Ohio, was Summit Motorsports Park. Decent location for drag racing. So a lot of people, even if they weren't into drag racing, would go out and just watch those kind of races. And then where I work now in Fremont, Ohio, is Fremont Motor Speedway, where they got like the sprint cars where like
Yeah,
it's
they
like
do.
a short
Yeah.
dirt track. Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
decent amount of racing going around me. I was never one of those kids that got interested or into it though. Basketball, football, baseball, all the time.
Real sports.
Yeah, the real ones. So kind of on that subject too, basketball,
Yeah.
NBA All-Star Weekend. The
Yeah.
game itself, I think, drew only 4.5 million viewers.
It's
So like
stupid.
nobody absolutely cares
It's
about
dumb.
that. But Mac McClung
Dude, white
representing
boy.
the average
White boy.
height white guys
White
like
boy.
yours truly winning the dunk contest took
Dude,
over the weekend.
this is the thing, man, right? Like I'm living here in Europe, and it's funny. There was a guy at school, and he commented like, "Wow, you looked at the All Star starting lineup and the bench guys. There's like two white dudes," and I was like, "You're right, right?" Like, and that's why, like, for me, the whole Black Lives Matter thing and like in the NBA and like equality, like, dude, I'm always for equality, but like, guys, us white boys aren't making it, all right? Like it's reality, all right? And I think for me, like the dunk contest was awesome because Matt McClung made it cool again. Like he made it cool to be in the dunk contest again. And it wasn't that he was white, it wasn't that he was 6'2", it's the fact that he had fun doing it and he was good at it. Right. Like
There,
we've wanted the LeBron
yeah.
Jameses, we've wanted the John Morants, we've wanted these guys, but they don't want to do it because of who knows what reason. But you have these guys that no one's ever heard of trying to dunk, but Matt McClung, we all knew him from his high school tapes, right? And this guy is legit. This was not staged. This was a guy went out there and just dominated every dunk. And I watched it in my classroom. I watched the highlights of it, and I was like, this dude is like, wow. Like he wows you, and he's gonna earn his spot. Like it's like someone said on TikTok, like he'll never be a perennial all-star basketball player. He'll never even be a sixth man. He'll be a guy that averages 3 points and 4 rebounds a game, but he'll be in every dunk contest because of things like this. And they kind of joke with him that he's like the new, I don't know how to put it, but basically we're just comparing him to like a guy that's just going to be there, get his paycheck, go do a dunk contest, and that's his thing.
I think too, if I am not mistaken, he won somewhere around 100,000 for winning the dunk contest, which is like his NBA salary this season. So
Yeah.
he doubled his pay with that. But like you said, dude, the dunks he was doing weren't really like too gimmicky. I didn't think either. Like there wasn't any like bringing two hoops out or bringing any car
Yeah.
or like some random celebrity out just to be a prop and do nothing. Like they were all like actually really good, exciting dunks.
Especially the
And
one where he did, especially the one he did the double pump fake and then reversed it. By the way, that's so hard to do.
That's yeah,
That's
that one
so hard to
absolutely
do.
insane, dude. Yeah.
A full
We're not
pump too.
I don't feel like we're gonna get too many more exciting dunk contests like that.
No,
Like we had Zach Levine versus Eric Gordon
that was
or
good.
Aaron Gordon,
Nate
and now
Robinson
we
versus
got
Dwight Howard.
yeah, like literally the tallest guy in the league versus the shortest guy in the league.
And then
Crazy. And
white
then
boy.
yeah, I guess Mac is it's Mac's time now. So hopefully he's always on an NBA team too, dude, so we can
Yeah.
continue to see him up here. But
If not, I feel like he'll become a professional dunker, is what I think he'll end up doing.
he could be like he could definitely make a little money on his own, maybe just by doing dunks. Like there's been people like the professor and people like that that didn't make it to the NBA, but like made a name for
They make
themselves,
so
I guess,
much
in the
money.
street
Yeah.
scene or just by like doing dunks, like getting maybe certain brand deals that continue to make videos like that and stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe Mac's got a future in basketball, just maybe not necessarily the NBA, but hopefully for a dunk contest sake, because he's going to be the one carrying it for a while, it seems like.
100%. 100%.
But since it's not football season anymore, or so you guys thought, we're not talking NFL, but we can't help ourselves, man.
This is the thing,
XFL
though. I said
XFL
last
weekend kicked
week.
off.
I forgot about
And
XFL last week, by the way, Josh. And so I was like, I told everyone, I was like, yeah, we're done with football talk for a while. We'll just have brief things here and there. And then
I
I
joked
completely
about it,
forgot.
I thought, but yeah,
Completely forgot about XFL.
I guess we have to talk XFL because
We do, of course.
there were some different rules
Yeah.
that I guess if you guys don't remember, the XFL and NFL kind of like teamed up. The XFL is going to try out rules, and if they end up being received pretty well in their league, then the NFL might institute some of those. But
before we go into these rules and stuff, Josh, I want a quick question. I think you might have a good answer for. Do you feel like the only way XFL, I'm sure we'll talk about this too, but the only way XFL will be successful is if the NFL team would buy an XFL team and be like a minor or like a developmental team underneath? Like, do you think that's the only way both would be successful? Or do you think it's going to be, or do you think XFL can survive on its own? Or do you think it would be important for the NFL to kind of have that as like a developmental league?
I think the developmental league would make it strong, but I think even just the sheer fact that they are kind of partnering up with the NFL could be enough to keep them around, at least for more than a season.
Okay.
We've seen all these kind of leagues like try to start up in the spring and they last a year and then go bankrupt. But the fact that I guess the NFL has their back in like this capacity it could be enough. But like you said too, if there was a minor league system like how the NBA G League works or all the levels of baseball's minor leagues, like that would obviously give them a reason, I guess, to stick around and make the NFL teams a little bit more invested. And yeah, I mean, it would keep it around a lot longer.
Well, as a coach in Europe right now, I wouldn't like that because that means any chance of getting any Americans would basically deplete because if there's multiple teams. But no, I guess for me, I've always felt like there needed to be something like that because I think you have so many guys that are deserved a shot in the NFL, but they don't get the recognition or they don't get looked at until it's too late and they go play somewhere else. Because I've always felt like if somehow the CFL, the NFL, and the XFL, I know the CFL has different rules, but somehow having that partnership of just being able to have guys like on rosters and doing that. And I think the XFL with a guy like The Rock running it, like the guy's already, he's made of money, right? He's got that backing, but then also to be able to have that personality with the XFL and you can pull that into the NFL, man, like that just would create things. And I don't know if you heard The Rock's like opening statement at that first game, but it was awesome. Like,
I'm wearing 54 on my jersey because I was not good enough to make the 53-man roster.
The thing was though, I think what I got away with.
Nah, it wasn't that cheesy. I'm kind of like making fun of it
I
a
think
little
for
bit,
me, but for me though, it was like he does have a point. Like he's giving all these, these whatever 100, 500 guys a chance to play again and to try to make themselves. And these old NFL guys that were washed out or whatever. But it's interesting, and so it's fascinating to me. I think some of the locations are really cool. I think Seattle's is the Sea Dragons, right?
No idea, dude.
All I know is their jerseys are sweet. The orange and like light blue is just a great combo. Josh Gordon's on the team. That's the only reason I know that.
Josh Gordon's playing, Martavis Bryant's playing, AJ McCarron's playing. Like there's a decent amount of players that everybody would know.
Yeah, and so I think also I do think it's funny that the San Antonio Brahmas or whatever is basically just it's the bull that The Rock was named after, or like that he uses a gimmick. So it's basically like his idea for a team name was just like his.
Oh, that's like his tattoo, like the main logo and
the
stuff.
Brahma Bull, the Brahma Bull. And so I just thought that was interesting. But then you have the DC Defenders. You have a lot of other teams that we've seen names of the previous XFL. So it's very interesting to me. I'm interested to see. But what are your thoughts on the first few games, and then get into specific with the rules and some of the things they're changing up?
I don't really have any thoughts, to be honest, because I ain't watching any of the games. But I know people have been talking about some of the rules. The only one that I really noticed was, I guess, the rule that they have on the kickoff.
What do you feel about
everybody's?
That?
I mean, it seems like football in general is just trying to get rid of the kickoff in general
Yeah.
without saying we're going to just automatically start at the 20 or 25. Like they, in
Yeah.
the NFL, they moved the kickoff from the 30 to the 35, right? And at the XFL, they got everybody like already down on the opposing team's 30-yard
So
line, I
weird,
think. The kicker's still kicking from like the normal spot,
which
but
is
it's like
weird.
now there's nobody getting like a running start, like moving full speed, and it's just like, okay, well, now it's just kind of effectively like 10 offensive linemen versus 10 defensive linemen, and the kicker's kind of in the back if the kick returner's good enough to get through, I guess. But yeah, I guess if it's all about player safety at the end of the day or whatever, it's a win for that. But you're effectively getting rid of any kind of kickoff strategy, any kind of kick return strategy, and something that
Field position.
still every now and then, yeah, like you're effectively ending the field position battle too.
And those poor
Like
guys that are kick return specialists are like going to be out of a job.
right, like they're just now catching the ball basically, and then that's the end of it.
Well, I think it's even too like they do this actually this kickoff they do also in the European League over here, the big European League, they do that as well. It's just weird for me because I feel like I've watched so many games growing up, and I know you have too, where a kickoff has changed the momentum of a game. And it's just weird. Like I know they're about safety, but at this point, I'm just like it looks ridiculous, and I would rather you just put the ball at the 25, the 30, and just be like, "There's the ball." Like because at this point, it just takes away so much of what the game gives us and what football is, and this is part of football, and we've already been clawing away from it, and it just feels like we're clawing more away from the game that we know. But it is interesting, and another thing I did see, Josh, I want to get your take on this, is that every reviewed call they allow the audience to hear how they talk about the call. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Like, if this do you think this would be beneficial in the, in the college football or in the NFL? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm a big fan of that because oftentimes we'll be seeing a penalty or a review, and then like we'll I guess get a weird call from the official and without any kind of explanation. Like they never have to explain themselves. Like they get to make all these game-changing decisions, face no accountability, and don't have to like face any repercussions or
Yeah.
explain themselves. So the fact that the fans, I guess, are understanding where the officials are coming from and what their thought process is, I'm a big fan of that, and that's probably something the NFL should do too.
Yeah, I like Dean Blandino. Like I've always loved him, and now that he's in charge of their officiating, I think it's really awesome to
The
see. And
NFL refs are probably not going to be a fan of that. They probably like
yeah,
effectively accepting money from other teams to make certain calls for them and stuff like that, and not have to explain it.
yeah,
Follow the
yeah.
script from the league.
Oh yeah, the script obviously because it's obviously totally about this. But no, it is fascinating. And Josh, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think the success of the XFL will be this year, and how many years do you predict it will last in the future?
Well, I don't really know what I guess success for the league would look like. I guess make it a full season because last time that they tried to have a season, they didn't get to do that. Let's just get a season out of the way and I guess make enough money to start a second one, which I think they will do. And how many years do I think it'll last? Man. If it continues to, I guess, maybe if they come up with different kind of rule changes, or maybe if they even like successfully get a rule change in the NFL from, uh, I guess the results being positive in their league, maybe they can be around for like, dare I say, at least 5 years.
Yeah. No, I think it's possible. I mean, it's the same thing with the USFL, and we can talk briefly about that. They just had their college draft, which Adrian Martinez is in it, which I thought was interesting that he's going to the
Yeah, did
USFL.
those guys? There's a decent amount of guys in there that I would have thought are playing for the NFL because Malik Cunningham, quarterback from
Yeah,
Louisville, was also in that. And it's like, aren't these guys
it,
going to
it
get
could be
drafted into the
it
NFL?
it could be that some of these guys, I know they do grades, and it could be some of these guys were basically told like, "Hey, you're going to go undrafted," and I think they take their
Yeah, and they're just
chances.
trying to get rights
Yeah,
to them right
they get
now. Yeah,
they get their take chances. I think Adrian Martinez was a steal in the second round. Um,
yeah.
But no, our first round, end of the first round. But no, what's your thoughts on leagues like the USFL? I think the AAF or whatever it was before, the XFL. Like, what are your thoughts on these leagues? And do you think it's good for the sport? Like, is it good like it is for baseball and for soccer and for basketball, or do you feel like it's going to clog up the system? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know if it's just that they haven't had like good business in the past, but like spring leagues have always tried and always failed. And now you got two trying at the same time, which
I
is like,
know.
why is the USFL even existing right now?
I really do think the XFL will outlast the USFL. I think it's not
It's
even
going
close.
to, like
Yeah.
we've been saying, they got the NFL backing them. They got actual former NFL players in their league.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna outlast USFL. Nobody, I don't think, is even gonna watch the USFL, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, my head coach here, he's like, I'm so excited I get to watch XFL, USFL. I'm like, dude, I've watched the XFL games and yeah, they're good, but you can just tell the difference of like it's just there's such a difference between the NFL and the XFL.
It is, yeah. Like even going back to I think it was the 80s. I think the USFL was the league then, and they competed with the NFL, or
Yeah,
were at least moving towards that. Like there were players that would be from that league that would go to the NFL. I mean, Herschel Walker got his football career started in that league, and then I think they once they switched from going to the spring, I think they what ended their league ultimately was the fact that they switched to the fall to try to directly compete with the NFL. And
which is stupid.
everybody's like, "Well, we're just gonna watch the NFL now, I guess." Sorry, USFL,
Yeah.
and then that ended their league. But yeah, think reasons why the USFL worked in the 80s was, I guess, the level of talent there, the fact it was in the spring and that directly competing with the
Yeah.
NFL. The XFL also has, I guess, like we've been saying over and over again, broken record, the NFL working alongside of it. So I guess there's an interest in seeing it succeed. So
Do you hope the XFL brings back the weird names like it did back in the early 2000s? He hates me.
like the weird names on the back of the
Yeah,
jerseys.
he hates me.
I don't know. Like The Rock does have
Butterfingers.
a background in the WWE. The WWE is what started the original XFL.
Listen,
So
no. I think would be good, Josh, is it that anytime like you pay a certain amount of money as a fan, you get to put the name on the back of that player's jersey. So if he drops a lot of passes, Butterfingers.
oh man.
That would be fun. I mean, it would be kind of like the fan football league or whatever it is, whatever that league is, where Johnny Manziel's now
Oh
thriving.
yeah, like the 7-on-7 league or whatever it was
Just Johnny
that Johnny
Manziel's
would
just
play. Yeah.
thriving. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm throwing 300 yards a game. I'm like, yeah, dude, against dudes that are probably like construction workers during the day.
Ice cream truck drivers.
Like, geez. But no, I think he's gonna be again. I think what I love about the XFL is that like The Rock is actually trying to make it a good league, and he's not just trying to make it like a joke. Like he's trying to like make this work. And I think if it works, and if for some reason they can grow to 16, 18 teams, and you can start having development leagues, like the development being the league, the NFL teams own it or they have big stake in it. Like I think that'd be huge for the NFL because that means you don't have to draft a guy. Hey, you can draft a guy in the sixth round that you don't know if he's gonna be ready yet, and then you just go set him down the development league. Like I think that would be so huge for the NFL and give guys that never had a chance to make the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Make the practice squad a little bit bigger, make it a little bit
Yeah.
easier to handle, I guess, cuts and injuries and re-signs. It's like, oh, you can just pull somebody from your lower level team to come
Yeah.
on up.
And I think it'd be awesome. But I don't know if it'll be there. I think there's a lot of financial stuff with that and there's a lot of stuff tied into that. But the end of the day, it's going to be something else. I am excited though, as someone who's coaching in the spring, right? Like our seasons in the spring, it's kind of cool to finally like. I never understood what spring football was about until now that I'm coaching it, and now we're able to watch it. It's something else. It's a little bit different. It's not getting colder as the year goes on; it gets warmer, which is very interesting. As someone that's out there right now, but Josh, I do want to talk about. I meant to talk about this during the NBA breakdown, but Kevin Love. There was some breaking news this past week with Kevin Love. Kevin Love is leaving Cleveland. He bought out. He actually has left Cleveland. He bought out his contract. They came to an agreement, which is weird because he only had 1 year. This was last year, and he signed with the Miami Heat. Josh, give me your thoughts on what Kevin Love has meant to the Cavaliers organization, to the city of Cleveland, and what is your thoughts on him in the buyout and what his success will be with Miami?
It's definitely been like a love-hate relationship in Cleveland with Kevin Love, I'd say. Uh, love because pun intended. Love because he was the third piece of that big three team that made it to four straight NBA
Yep.
finals. So that was awesome. hate because sometimes it just seemed like he was soft and dealt with some injuries and just couldn't play the defense sometimes that we needed
He,
him to, but he did on the Steph Curry
yeah.
2016 Game 7 of the NBA Finals that last minute. And then even in the, I guess, the aftermath of all of that, like the random outbursts of like, I don't want to be here. No, I'm just kidding. I want to be here. And then I
Yeah.
guess finally was done with it. And yeah, it is weird since he only had one season left. Maybe even with the fact Cleveland winning right now, it was kind
Yeah,
of
it was
weird.
weird.
Maybe he just thinks Miami's gonna win a ring. I don't know. That I mean, when you do a move like that, it's got to be like a ring chasing move, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the weird thing for me is, right, like I've always loved Kevin Love, like, but the issue is I felt like with Kevin Love is that like as his career went on from his first year to to this year, he completely changed like what he did. Like he used to be as known as this tenacious rebounder, had 30 rebounds in a game. And it was like now he's like, well, he's just a shooter. He's a stretch four. And he's getting frustrated about playing time. I'm like, dude, I would rather have some of these young guys in there that are gonna go rebound. They're gonna play defense. And I think for me it was frustrating because like, all these Mitchell and everyone looked up to him. And I just felt like why not finish it out? Like what? Okay, yeah, you're not playing a lot, but you give everything out. Look at Richard Jefferson, right? And in Channing Frye and some of these guys that never played in those some of those big games, but they were there to support as a veteran presence. And so I know they got Danny Green, which is a nice signing, but I guess the move to Miami doesn't really feel like a jump up. It feels like more a lateral or even down a step. Um, Again, that's just my take. I'm just really frustrated because I feel like the Cavs could have done something to convince him to stay, and I know they said they're going to retire his number, which I do think he deserves. He's been here a long time, and I think he deserves that. Plus, no one ever
I don't
wears.
know.
Plus, no one ever wears number 0, so kind
Yeah.
of retired anyways. Um, but no, I will known him for some of his crazy quarters where he scored like 30 points in a quarter and some of these crazy things for the Cavs. But it will always be like I felt like I never got the full Kevin Love. Like I think that's what I
Yeah.
leave his relationship with. I felt like I got 3/4 of Kevin Love. That's just my thoughts.
Excuse me. Yeah, maybe 3/4. When he was in Minnesota, being the main offensive player, being the main guy in the paint, you saw the kind of player that he could have been. But when he came to Cleveland, and you're playing with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, it's like, okay, well, now he's definitely the third option. Now with just the way LeBron plays, you don't really want too many lanes clogged, so he has to be pushed out. And then I guess only focus on threes. Like we even saw that with Chris Bosh in Miami with
Yeah.
the original big three. He didn't really play inside too much after that. And it's just kind of like, well, this is going to be your role. It's going to be what's going to, I guess, make the offense work. Are you going to roll with it or not? And so we didn't really get to see, I guess, Kevin play to his full potential just because by the time he was the number one guy, it was like, okay, well, now he's a little older and a little slower.
Yeah. So what do you feel about that Miami move? Like, do you agree with me that you feel it's kind of like a lateral one or a step down?
Right now they're seventh in the East. The top three teams right now in the conference are Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly. So I don't really know what this move's all about because right now it's looking like Miami could be one of those teams that's getting knocked out in the first round. It's like Cleveland might be advancing in the first round.
And
So
by the way, Cleveland has I think the second easiest schedule in the second half of the year. And it's like, dude, like you're set up for a perfect run in the playoffs.
if at the end of the day, if it's all about playing time, is Miami even that place where like he's gonna
Yeah.
start?
There's Bam Adebayo down there. Like what is he going to do? Be a stretch four and do the same thing he was doing in Cleveland? Like that's for me. Like, why don't you just wait this contract out and you can go sign with anybody you want, And I don't know.
I
I just the thing is, we don't even know what Cleveland paid him because obviously a buyout means you have to buy out the contract, which I'm interested to see. Like, what was his buyout clause?
Yeah, if it since it was only 1 year, it's probably not like super insanely high, but still some high. Um, yeah, dude, like Miami, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo. Like, I don't really. Well, there's not too many bigs. Like Miami does seem to be like a pretty guard heavy team. So even still, like if it is all about playing time, hopefully he is getting the playing time there. But still, it doesn't even look like Miami would even be the best spot for that even.
No, like I feel like the best spot. I mean, if he was going to go somewhere else, I think partly too I'm salty because we might actually play him, for a series in the playoffs, which would just be
There's a chance, dude.
weird, be really
If
weird.
if Miami is lucky enough to get to the second round,
What would you say, like for you, if you had a top five of best Cavaliers since we've been kids, not all time, but since we've been kids, would he be in your top five?
that's a tough one because it's like, okay, well, LeBron's the clear number one there, and I think Kyrie Irving has to be the clear number two there.
Ooh, no, I disagree.
Let me
Disagree.
continue then. There's been like, are we talking about only their time in Cleveland counts?
Since we've been born.
So that rules out like random signings like Shaquille O'Neal because he only played in Cleveland like at
guys
the end of
that like what they did with
yeah.
Cleveland. What they did with Cleveland.
What they did with Cleveland, yeah. So I think Zydrunas Ilgauskas has to be up there.
Oh yeah, for me it's two. Big Z is two. It's not even close to me. What he
Not
did
even close.
for me, that's just my I because if I look at Kyrie and I look at Z, right, comparison, right, it's obviously those are the top three. Like I'm not arguing that. I think for me, Big Z and just what he did before LeBron was LeBron, right? Like he kind of, even when LeBron was there, he was always the guy, right? Like there, I mean, Drew Gooden's up there too. Like I feel like Drew Gooden's not up there, but
not top five.
I'm just kidding.
But
no, I would say the other top for me, the other two. It's hard because Kevin Love, I guess, would be up there. I mean, if you look at production,
would you be ready to throw Darius Garland in this list already?
I would, because I don't know who else you would put up there. Larry Hughes, Mo Williams.
The bar is pretty low. Like I feel like Mo Williams would have a case. In a few seasons, Donovan Mitchell will definitely be in that list, but at this time, it's like we're still in year one with him.
I think Anderson Varejao, I mean, not because of his production offensively, but just what he did as a whole, right? He's up there.
I think he forfeited his Cavs Hall of Fame manship with all the flops he had in Golden State, dude, in that finals.
I would say this. I think for me, okay, this is my top five. I'm going to go LeBron, Big Z, Kyrie, Kevin Love 4. I guess Darius Garland 5. I can't think of anybody else that I would put up there.
Like, just even thinking through the LeBron era, like the players that were alongside him, man, it was like, and this is bad. Sasha Pavlovich, Drew Gooden, Eric Snow, Ben Wallace, Ira Newble. Like
the fact that
none
you
of those
know
guys
this
are
is
in here.
Hilarious.
Oh, I knew that team, dude. I would play with them in NBA. Let's see, and then like I said, we had the random like 1-year signings or maybe 2-year signings with guys like Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade,
Boobie
Ben Wallace, Daniel Gibson. Yeah, he was with the team for a handful of years there. And then the post LeBron team, dude, was like
Anthony Bennett. Biggest flop
Anthony
of all time.
Bennett, man. Tristan Thompson.
Oh wait, Tristan
Alonzo
Thompson's
G.
up there too. Tristan Thompson.
I don't know about top 5 with Tristan, dude. I don't know.
Who else should be up there? Yeah, I guess that would be my 5. That's my
Mo
5.
Williams, we mentioned him. I think there's a small case for him, but it's just like.
So what's your top 5 then? So that was my top 5.
My top 5 is going to be LeBron 1. I mean, that's undisputed at this point.
Yeah, that's undisputed.
Number 2, I'm saying is Kyrie Irving. Multiple All-Star appearances in Cleveland. I believe won a couple events in the All-Star game. Everybody's going to always remember the game-winning 3 in the finals. Yep. I can't remember a single Z moment with the Cavs where it's like, yeah, that was his moment. Like, I just can't.
Maybe I'm just partial to the name, man.
I'm gonna put Zydrunas at 3rd though. Just for the longevity he had in Cleveland. I think he made 1 or 2 All-Star games. Yep. A lot of seasons, so I think that helps as well. Number 4, I'm gonna put Kevin Love, and number 5, I'm gonna go ahead and throw Garland in there. Garland's already, I think, been an All-Star.
Yeah.
in Cleveland.
He's doing
This
really
is
well
his
too.
approaching his third season, I think.
Yeah, third,
So,
fourth, something like that.
so I've seen enough with him, and we've seen very little from anybody else. Where it's like, yeah, Garland, I think is a top 5 Cav in our lifetime already.
So no Larry Hughes.
I can't do Larry Hughes, man. No Larry Hughes, no Danielle Marshall,
Eric Snow.
no Flip Murray, none of them.
Flip Murray. Oh, the names, man. That just brings me back to the 2K5 days, man. The NBA
Yeah.
Live 2005, 2K5 days. No. But anyways, we just got off on a tangent on that one.
Delonte West, man, we need to
Dante
mention
West,
him.
yeah, Delonte West, yeah. What was the other one? What's that? Brown. He played for the Lakers too, but he played for the
Devin
Cavs.
Brown.
Devin Brown.
Shannon Brown.
Shannon Brown. That's what I was trying to say. Danny Green. That's another one. He got drafted. Now he's back with the Cavs.
Danny Green was drafted by the Cavs. Yep.
I'm trying to think, but anyways, I think that's
JJ Hickson.
JJ Hickson. That was a classic back when I was a kid. That guy was supposed to be a double machine, and it's crap.
Yeah. Cavs have never really been good at drafting.
Carlos Boozer played for a few years.
Yeah, I guess we would have been alive for that.
We would have been alive.
I wasn't watching basketball yet when he was a Cav, but
that is true. That is true. But yeah, there's a lot.
It was in my lifetime.
Let's just say I want you guys to put in the comments below. Comment who you think is in your top 5.
Top 5 Cavs since like the year 2000.
Yeah, so like 2000. So was Ben right? Was Josh right? Do you disagree with all of us? Do you think Larry Hughes and
is Adrianis Ilgauskas a greater Cav than Kyrie Irving? I think that's really the only thing we differed on.
The thing is, we all know that Larry Hughes in our hearts is just obviously in the top 5.
Why Larry Hughes, man?
I don't know. I
think he's
Hamilton
in the top 10, maybe 6, 7, 8ish.
Yeah, Rip Hamilton. Did he play for the Cavs? Did he play a year for the Cavs?
Someone from that Pistons team did. I don't think it was Rip though.
Oh, okay. It was Ben Wallace. I know Ben Wallace played.
Yeah. Maybe it was just Ben.
But anyways, that is our list. For some reason that we did not plan at all. We just, we're just that good.
Spontaneous,
man. We just come up with those things.
We're just chatting with the boys.
We are chatting with the boys. Maybe that should have been our name. Chatting with. I feel like that's too close to bussing with the boys. But I do want to get your opinion here, Josh. Before we finish up the show, two things. One, we'll talk about college basketball to finish the show, but I wanted to specifically talk about what David Cohn talked about on their podcast, Crane and Company. Shout out, boys. You guys are amazing. If you all want to come on again, just let us know. But I will say this: what I'm interested to hear is your thoughts on what they talked with Josh Pate about how the people that are running college football, do they really care about college football? And what's your thoughts? I know you and I both have grown up around football our whole lives. We've been college sports fans for our whole lives. As an Ohioan, as someone who's an Ohio State fan like myself, I remember going to college game days with my dad and watching the games in the stadium. What's your thoughts? Like, do you feel like we're truly losing what college football is?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely evident. It's like, I guess the United States government, right? You create a problem and then all of a sudden have the solution for said problem. That's what college football and the people that have been running it have been doing the last several years.
Done.
I got it in today, though.
You did. You beat me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's how it is, dude. When you just look at the calendar, like where the, I guess, national signing day ends and recruiting periods and transfer portal periods. And it's like, how are coaches supposed to do this? And we're seeing some guys leave the game, even in the basketball scene, just because it's like they don't want to like do this anymore. Like, it's super hard. Nick Saban has voiced concerns about it and then just, I guess, uses them to his advantage and says, like, you guys really want it to be this way, then cool. I'll just continue to, rake in the
millions of dollars.
I'll just continue to rake in millions of dollars and continue to win this way. But yeah, it's like college football. What really makes it great is like what makes the product great is the experience at the sites. Like, you can't just bring and I think some of the examples they're talking about, you can't just take Tuscaloosa and like in the NFL, at least, most of the stadiums are pretty much the same outside of maybe like Arrowhead Stadium, a place that's super loud. The experience that you get watching college football at Tuscaloosa, at Ann Arbor, at Austin Stadium, where Oregon plays, like all these different sites, it's like it totally is different. Like you're getting something different each time.
Yeah.
Like the experience at the college scene is just something that can't be really mimicked by any other football league. The regional aspect, the rivalries, like the fact that West Virginia has to drive or travel like 1,000 miles for like its nearest out of conference opponent is insane. The fact that a team in California like USC or UCLA is going to be playing in New Jersey and New York with like Rutgers and Maryland is absolutely insane. It's like this isn't like they're ruining college football. Nobody ever complains about the length of college football games. They're never like,
No.
we want less college football. Give us less. So what these people running the show have done is decide that since they've added so many commercial breaks and ad revenue opportunities, that since the product you see on TV is 4 hours, they can't cut any of like that nonsense out. They gotta cut the game out. And so they're proposing all these
Oh,
changes,
so dumb.
like the most egregious one that we saw, like out of these 4 proposed rule changes, is the clock continuing to run after incomplete passes.
What's the point?
It's like, what are we
what's the
doing
point
here?
at that point?
What are we doing here? If we take out like a couple commercial breaks, we're sitting pretty good, but they can't do that. Like at the end of the day, they're just all worried about the cash cow. They're saying that they're trying to shorten games in the name of player safety while also adding more playoff games, and meaning you have to win about 17 or 18 games to be a national champion. So it's like you really don't care about player safety. It's like really cute that you try to do that, but we know at the end of the day it's all about money. That's why all this conference realignment is going on. That's why like all these extra commercial breaks are being added on. They don't care about college football. They don't care about the way the schedule's written. It's crazy. Like nobody in the NFL would stand for that. And I can't agree more with what Josh Pate and David Cohen are getting at.
And with that being said, I also agree with what they've said, what Josh has just said as well. Like to me, college football is the memories I made with my dad and the memories I made with my brother. And I just feel like this is being taken away from us. And you know what it feels like? It feels like you've poured acid on this, like, this little like thing you had your whole life, and it's metal, and this acid is just burning it away. And it's just finding its way to just corrupt everything that was a part of it. And you're right. It sounds like the US government. It kind of does, and I'm saying that as an American, as someone who's living in another country, who I live in a place that is not as well off as America is. And yet these people love their country even more than some of our people. Right. And I think it's that love of the game of football that I think brings us all together. And I can go to my cousins who like Michigan, and I'm a High State fan, but we bond over the sport. And what you're going to do, you're going to take it away. You're taking everything that we love because you want to make an extra penny, because you want to make it, well, it's got to fit this new age. Like, who cares? Football's football. Football's been around for 100 years. It's going to still be around for another 100 more years, just like soccer. And you don't change soccer. You don't say, okay, you can use your hands halfway through the game. Like, no, you don't say that, right? Because it's soccer. It's what the game of football in Europe was started, because that's what it was. And it's the same thing with baseball. It's changing, but not dramatically, right? It's not like basketball. They're like, hey, we're going to be allowed you to kick the ball one time per half, as well as using a fan as, like, no, right? Like, keep football the way football should be. Don't do this stupid incompletion. Like, as a quarterback myself, that's going to make so much pressure on quarterbacks. Like, don't throw an incompletion, right? Like, but I don't know, man. It's just frustrating. And at the end of the day, you're never going to be able to spike the ball at the end of a game to get in a field goal position, because if you spike the ball, then it doesn't actually do anything.
Within 2 minutes, I think that it flips back to like
what's the
regular.
point then?
Right.
Then what's the point?
If it's gonna stop within 2 minutes, why is it not stopping within? Like why are we changing it based on the situation?
So again, we've all learned this. We've known this for a long time. The people running college football are not people that know college football, and it will never be that way.
They're all like executive business types that would never be on the sidelines of a place like the Swamp in 90-degree weather with, like, I guess, sweat pouring down their face and a $10 beer in their hand. Like, they would never do that.
No, they wouldn't.
Never do that. They're the ones that are like, watching from the loge and the air conditioning with like all the other, snob types up there
Well,
because
it's
counting their
even like
dollars.
it's even like what's his face from the Minnesota Timberwolves said about like the whole resting thing in the NBA is like, people
Anthony
might
Edwards.
yeah, people might be able to spend $1 or spend some money to come watch you play, but what if you're not playing that day? I want to say the same thing to this committee. Like, you make all these changes and you're forcing something that is not what we all came to see. We want to see football. We don't want to see this game that's deforming in front of us. And again, I ranting because I'm, especially as someone that is now coaching and is loving the sport more than I ever have. I don't want to see football the way I know it ruined. And so that is my rant for today. We got two political jokes in one whole spiel there. But no, I think Josh and I can both agree. Like, we love college football. We want to see it succeed, but let's not do it this way. Let's try to find a way that can be equal for everyone.
Let's find a way where you can, I guess, still make a decent amount of money and not ruin the product on
Yeah,
the field.
exactly. And before we go, we're going to talk about, well, the product of the court that has been suffering for both of our teams, but specifically mine. You know, North Carolina, we know they have a chance to make the old
They've been
tourney.
1-1 since we last spoke, so they're 17-11
yeah,
now.
that must be
They
nice.
defeated Notre Dame by 4, and I lost to NC State, I think, by 8.
Oh, that must be nice. Must be nice to know what it's like to win, right? Because as an Ohio State fan right now, we've won one game since January. They're 1-10, no 1-11 since that whole game. I think they were 10-3. They're now, what are they, 11-15?
I think 11-16.
Yeah, so they're 1-13, I think, since they started 10-3. So yeah,
Just a crazy stretch, dude.
so Bronny James was supposed to decide where he's going to go, and now even Jalen, what's his name, Rose even said he should go to Ohio State. You know what? Everyone's saying they should go to Ohio State because they have nothing. Our best player is going to be leaving after the year. And it's just been depressing, Josh. Like, it's the first year in it's first time since I think 2015, 2016 that I'm not going to see the Ohio State Buckeyes in the tournament.
Not even in the NIT, even.
Dude, they're not going to make any tournament, dude. It's going to be the
We'll
saddest.
see if North Carolina can make the actual tournament too, dude. I heard that being discussed. Is North Carolina?
Well, if you according to Johnny
like
Gaunt, you're the last 4 team in. So if you guys go check out Fifth and Goal podcast. By the way, they just celebrated their 100th episode. I just want to quickly mention that. Congratulations,
covering
fellas.
Big time college basketball.
They are.
Too.
They're traveling. They're actually at
Butler, Georgetown, Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah, they're going there tonight as we're recording this, so it's already over when you're listening to this. But congrats to them, by the way, of what they're doing. It's tremendous. It's awesome to see. One day,
We need Johnny
Josh,
to ask the real questions post game. Chris, why should Ohio State retain you after this season's over?
Yes, we should also ask the question of, I don't know, why Ohio State can't decide to recruit a guy that's over 6'5". Like, literally, they have one guy over 6'9". Like, everyone else is 6'7" and under, or not even 6'7", like 6'6". Like, why can't you recruit a 7-footer?
Especially when Ohio State has always seemed to have like that one random tall white guy like BJ Mullins or Costa Kofus.
It's Costa Kofus,
Kofus. Yeah.
Costa
Like
Kofus.
they always got a guy like that in.
I miss Dallas Lauderdale. I miss those days.
Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. But no, it is crazy to see. And we will have a March Madness. So for everyone listening, once the conference,
once this comes out, I think we got a week of regular season games left.
So once conference tournament's done, we will hopefully have a show, or maybe once we know the actual listing, we will try to do, if not a show, we will at least try to put out our, like, a quick video or something. We'll figure out how we can get our whole bracket together before the games. It might be a challenge, but we will figure it out, as we always do.
The selection's going to come out on a Sunday. The playing games are going to be starting Tuesday.
Exactly.
And the first official games are going to be coming out Thursday.
So maybe we could get something in on a Tuesday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll definitely get that to you, as well as we also have to get the NFL draft, mock 1.0. We'll be getting that out at some point. But again, we got to let things settle, right? We got to let the dust settle before we can do that. So once again, we want to say thank you to all of you for listening. You're our loyal listeners. I always get comments from the same people, and it's kind of fun just to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But we thank you. Josh and I both appreciate what you're doing. I will say that Ben is coming to the States in the summer, which means after doing a year of the show, Josh and I actually might be in the same place to maybe do a show live. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible, but we will see. That could be in the future as well. So anyways, we want to say thank you to all of you once again. I know I said that again, but we thank you. But if you love listening to us on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let us know you love what you see. Comment below, comment your favorite XFL team. That's what we're going to do. Favorite XFL team and XFL name, because I think it kind of goes one hand in hand. So do that for us. And also on Spotify, make sure you favorite it. Let us know how much you're enjoying it. And have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys have some time to watch some XFL, some other things, maybe some basketball, golf, whatever you're into. Go ahead and watch it. We would love to see your comments below. And until next time, we'll see ya.